Hello dear Ronins, welcome to theroninhood for this new review about Togakure Shinobigatana from YariNoHanzo. So first, what is Togakure Ryu? So I will let you hear this first interview about Shian Bernard Bordas, that is a great known master of Shinobi ninjutsu.
Pourriez-vous nous dire qu'est-ce qu'un ninja ?
Alors un ninja, traditionnellement, pour les Japonais, est un agent de renseignement. Pour plus le symboliser, on dit c'est une ombre. C'est-à-dire c'est quelqu'un que l'on ne voit pas, que l'on n'entend pas, c'est un fantôme. On ne le voit pas, on ne l'entend pas, et les Japonais insistent, on ne le sent pas, c'est très important. Le ninja n'a pas de nom, il n'a pas de forme, il n'a pas d'odeur, il ne laisse pas de traces. Ce qu'on appelle les sanmunin, c'est pas de nom, pas de traces, pas d'odeur. C'est un agent de renseignement, il va dans un endroit, la nuit, le jour, déguisé, pas déguisé, il prend les renseignements, il s'en va, et puis personne ne l'a vu. Et donc c'est pour chercher des renseignements, pour prendre des objets, pour prendre des plans. C'est aussi quelqu'un qui peut fabriquer des ponts, chercher des gués sur les rivières pour faire passer des troupes. C'est quelqu'un qui peut établir des cartes, donc c'est très fort en cartographie. Il se déplace le jour, il se déplace la nuit. Donc c'est quelqu'un que l'on envoie avant une bataille, que l'on envoie peut-être à la place même de faire une bataille pour sauver des vies. Le principe est qu'on ne déclenche pas une guerre, on ne déclenche pas une bataille, une attaque sans qu'un ninja ait d'abord eu son mot à dire, c'est-à-dire ait déjà pu aider les stratèges à établir la meilleure stratégie d'attaque, de repli, de défense, etc. Et c'est ce qu'on appelle le charme, c'est-à-dire le porte-bonheur de la troupe de combat. Il nous faut un ninja pour pouvoir éviter un maximum les erreurs.
Est-ce que l'école Togakure provient de l'Iga Ryu ninjutsu ?
D'après le Takamatsu-den, oui. D'après le Takamatsu-den, oui. D'après les gens d'Iga, non. D'après le professeur Ikeda, non. Donc, on va dire ce fait historique ne m'intéresse pas plus que ça. J'attends les conclusions des recherches qui seront des recherches tout à fait réalistes. Par exemple, il y a un livre plutôt qui a été créé l'année dernière, édité l'année dernière au Japon, qui sont études définitives sur les ninjas et le ninjutsu. Ça veut dire que tout ce que l'on sait sur les ninjas et le ninjutsu, sur la pratique, d'après justement les livres dont on a parlé, les densho traditionnels, des livres ont été faits par des groupes de reconstitution et par des chercheurs historiques. Ces livres sont faits, ils n'en feront pas plus. Tout a été écrit, tout a été dit. Maintenant, il y a d'autres recherches sur la véracité de ces textes, sur la véracité et l'utilité de ces textes. Et quand ces études seront publiées, à ce moment-là, je pourrai me prononcer parce que ce sera la version officielle des Japonais et des héritiers des écoles ninja sur les ninjas et le ninjutsu. Et j'ai hâte d'avoir la finalité de ces études universitaires.
Des rumeurs circulent sur Internet comme quoi le Soke Masaki Hatsumi serait un imposteur. Qu'en pensez-vous ?
Je suis pas au courant de ces rumeurs en disant que c'était un imposteur. On va dire, dans mes recherches, j'ai trouvé 2 sources de l'école Togakure. Donc, ce sont des recherches, on va dire, de chercheurs japonais. Donc, je vais vous citer ces 2 sources, sans jugement aucun. Il y a les sources que l'on trouve au Japon. Ishitani, on va dire, sur le Bugai Ryu Adajiten. C'est en 1182, voilà. Il y a une guerre, la guerre de Genpei, bien sûr, et une personne appelée Daisuke Nishina, originaire du village Togakure, trouve un refuge dans les montagnes d'Iga. Voilà. Donc cette personne aurait été la première personne fondatrice du Togakure Ryu, dans l'école Togakure Ryu, au XIIe siècle. Préfecture de Nagano, c'est ce que l'on trouve dans la source dans tout le Takamatsu-den, ce qu'on appelle le Togakure Ryu ninjutsu et densho, donc dans les densho que possède Hatsumi Sensei, qu'il a hérité de Takamatsu Sensei. Dans une autre étude, vous avez Hiroshi Ikeda, qui est un chercheur de l'université de Mie, à Iga Ueno, qui a écrit un livre qui s'appelle Ninjutsu Kento. Lui, il dit que le Togakure Ryu fut créé par Kansuke Yamamoto, qui était commandant en chef des forces armées de Takeda Shingen. Donc ce Kansuke Yamamoto était né en 1501, donc au XVIe siècle. Il s'appelait Haruyoki Yamamoto, il était de la province de Mikawa. Il devint moine bouddhiste, il prit alors le nom de Ganzuke. Il aurait écrit un traité de stratégie, le Koyogunkan, pour Takeda Shingen. Il est mort en 1561. Il était borgne, boiteux, mais excellent lancier, était un guerrier redoutable. Alors ce qu'il faut savoir, c'est que les provinces de Nagano et les provinces de Mikawa sont des provinces qui se touchent et qui sont juste à côté donc, du lac Biwa, très près de Iga Ueno. Donc je n'ai pas de préférence dans ces deux sources. Je pratique les écoles que j'ai reçues, les techniques que j'ai reçues de l'école Togakure. Je n'ai pas reçu d'école d'autres techniques de ninjutsu qui viendraient de Kanzuki Yamamoto. Je ne sais pas si ça existe d'ailleurs. Voilà, moi, au point où j'en suis, je veux dire à l'état des recherches, je n'ai que 2 versions. Est-ce qu'il y a plusieurs versions? Je ne sais pas. Alors, ce qu'il faut savoir, c'est que les études sur le ninjutsu au Japon commencent juste depuis le mois de septembre 2013. Donc avant le mois de septembre 2013, il n'y avait pas de recherche au Japon sur le ninjutsu. Et là, à la fac de Mie, donc plusieurs personnes, que ce soit Kiyomoto Sensei, Kawakami Sensei, Keda Sensei et d'autres autres personnes, qui sont des professeurs de faculté ou des héritiers de certaines traditions, ont mis leurs connaissances en commun pour trouver les origines exactes du ninjutsu. Ils ont analysé le Mansenshukai, ils ont analysé le Nimpiden, le Shoninki, ils voient quelques traités de guerre, et ils se font leur idée, ils font des conférences pour expliquer à quoi servaient ces livres, par qui ils ont été écrits, est-ce que ces personnes étaient ninjas ou pas. Ils sont en train un petit peu de écrire maintenant l'histoire du ninjutsu. Ce qui voudrait dire que tout ce que l'on sait sur les ninjutsu avant, tout ce que l'on savait sur le ninjutsu avant, écrit par les Japonais, ne tenait que du Nimpuikan, du Basenshukai, du Shoninki et du Nimpiden. Donc, ou du ninjutsu Ogukui, par exemple. Mais bon, ce sont des écrits japonais. Je ne parle même pas des écrits occidentaux, je n'en tiens pas compte.
Que pensez-vous du soke Jinishi Kawakami?
Alors je ne connais pas Kawakami personnellement. Je pense ce que les chercheurs disent, hein. C'est-à-dire c'est une personne qui est en ce moment même où je parle à la fac de Mie, hein, donc la fac Iga Ueno. C'est une personne qui s'occupe plus ou moins du musée de Iga Ueno. Que dire de plus? Il est on va dire le mentor de mon élève Guillaume Lemanien, qui en ce moment vit à Iga Ueno et a été reconnu comme chercheur à la fac de Mie, donc en ninjutsu, chercheur en ninjutsu. Donc c'est Kawakami Sensei, son maître de recherche. Je n'ai pas de jugement de valeur sur cette personne. Quand je la rencontrerai, on fera une autre interview.
Thanks, dear Ronin, for having watched, if you have watched this entire interview, and first try of answer of what is Togakure Ryu. And I have to say, this is my second phase of research about ninjutsu to understand the difference between fantasy and reality for this sword, Shinobigatana from YariNoHanzo, and my first phase of research was with the ninjato from Murazame. You have maybe already watched this episode before. So now we can start this episode. So you have seen that ninjutsu skill from Bujinkan and especially from Togakure that is represented by a Bujinkan organization is a really full, complete martial arts with many different weapons and many skills, including, of course, self-defense as taijutsu, shuriken jutsu, and kenjutsu, 3 disciplines that I practice personally with batto-do, shuriken jutsu as beginner, and karate-do. So it's kind of different than taijutsu, but it's still feudal self-defense. So thank you for your patience and for having watched this introduction as a neophyte that I am about ninjutsu, but curious. I'm so curious about this amazing art, and we can say that it's unknown art and research has just begun. So the brand and seller KATANA, you already know them. They are very famous in Europe and now I think in the world. Their business is between 100 euros and 1,300 euros. They have apparently accord with Toyama Ryu style that I really appreciate for selling their product. So they are telling their website that they have accord with Toyama Ryu Federation Organization martial arts in Japan. So the Shinobigatana Togakure come from the superior grade of their business models, different grade. So this is one of the more expensive one, between 400 euros and almost 1,000 euros in this class. You have already seen the Araki review of YariNoHanzo and now the Togakure Shinobigatana that is around 500 euros. That is not so expensive for I would say an almost middle class sword. I will say a middle class shinken. So they say it's made for batto-do and tameshigiri. You can see there the pictures. You have to note that of course it's a Shinobigatana, so Shinobi Katana. That means there is a shorter blade of it should be 57 centimeters, so it's faster. So in the previous videos, the Soke headquarter Masaaki Atsumi were saying that it's a faster sword because it's shorter, and this is really true, and we'll see how impressive is this sword by his special characteristic. So they say it's a gu no me shoji amen with a okisaki of 14 centimeters, and it's 1095 common steel, and there is buffalo horn on koiguchi, korigata, and kojiri. It's a kuro ishime, they say, on the saya, and they say it's a typical katana from the school Togakure. Of course, it's a YariNoHanzo brand sword because KATANA Mart sell exclusively YariNoHanzo sword. So 1095 carbon steel, 57 centimeters on the Nagasa, and 14 centimeters of Kisaki with Okisaki. Gunome Shoji, they say it's a real Amon. Tsuka, they say it's 28 centimeters. Tsuka Ito, they say it's silk. And they say it's real ray skin. For the Tsuba, they say it's Mokogata, and it's a battle ready with 2 Mekugi, and they say that the weight is 1,100 grams. So for checking, for me on the Amon, the Gu Nome is this one, and the other one they were talking about was Shoji, this one. So I'm not sure that the one that I have, we will see that later, is a Shoji Gonume Amon. Now the unboxing. So first, it's the second Shinobi Katana that we will make a review about in RoninHood. It's a really interesting sword, especially after I have made the review with the ninjutsu from Murazame. So with this one, we have a totally different experience. It's a totally different sword. First, it's a Noi sword and it's a curved blade. As you know, I was talking about with the different episodes starting before the review of the ninjutsu with Ghost of Tsushima topic, that the ninjutsu on my first phase of research, I'm really not sure that ninjutsu really exists because there is no one on Museum of Japan, and second, it's really cut not well. But with this one, the experience will be different, and for my first research and second phase of research, it's really closer that what could have used real shinobi in feudal times. So I'm really excited, guys, to start this review. So it's a really interesting blade with a really long kisaki, O-kisaki. I think this is the first O-kisaki we have in Ronin hood. Everything is black, everything is really sober, everything is really nice to see. So 1095 carbon steel, so it's 0.95% of carbon steel. It's really interesting. The weight is 1020 grams without saya, so it's almost the same weight than the Okaze from Bushinedo. It's a Shinogi Zukuri blade, most popular type we've made in China, and we can see there are some little things interesting. So it's a low Shinogi Suji with narrow Shinogi Suji with Inariku Kareru, so it is a fragile blade with no Niku. Even it's a Shinogi Zukuri blade. The Yorimune is Ikue, is the most common type of Yorimune. The point of balance is 8.7 centimeters from the tsuba for a blade that is 57 centimeters. The kashira is really nice, sober, black detail, beautiful shape, like an S. You have, for me, it's a Chinese cotton, really tight with ishigami, really tight. I've trained a lot since a long time with this sword, so I can guarantee you that it's really tight. I was really surprised, and it didn't move at all. So good quality sturdiness for this Ito in cotton. Cotton is better for beginner because it's keep better the hand on the tsuka. Samegawa is no premium ray skin because no notes visible, no unpro notes. But it's a beautiful Samegawa, even it's not Emperor notes, premium ray skin. You can see in detail this black Samegawa with this. I think it's still a beautiful ray skin. Menuki, cherry blossom motif, I think. Like every designs of YariNoHanzo, it's modern and traditional, and I think this is one of the things where they are really good, because most of us prefer something that is sober and fancy, and I think this brand has noted the wish of customers for that. Mekugi, they are not so great because I think they would be really difficult to take off, but I think it's still doable. But personally, I don't like to take off like difficult Mekugi because after it will be a mess to put it back everything. The tsuba is 7 centimeters and 7.5 centimeters. It is a beautiful modern traditional tsuba. There is always this thing on YariNoHanzo brand Sepa. They are like with copper tone and black copper tone on Abaki. I really like it. It's really beautiful. they respected a really simple rule, like just two colors, black and copper, and that make the sword really beautiful. The habaki, really nice. You can see how it fit with the blade in detail. The moto haba is 3.55 centimeters and saki haba 2.7 centimeters at 14 centimeters. Moto kasane 7 millimeters, saki kasane 4.3 millimeters, and is a okisaki, big kisaki. The amount for me is more midare than the I think it was shoji gunome they were saying on the website of YariNoHanzo, but I don't think so. For me it's just but it's not so visible, so the amount is not so visible. For me, I don't care, but for other people it could be important. Nagasa is 57 centimeters. It's a curved blade, so the slice effect will be really more effective, like we have studied that before on the Ninjato review of Muazame. That was a straight blade. The length of the tsuka is 29 centimeters. Tsuka shape, my favorite, it's Aishi. Tsuka wrap inerimaki, thickness 2.7 to 3 centimeters and width 3.4 to 3.8 centimeters. Edge is very sharp. Really sturdy edge, nothing to say. You will see that everything worked. Kurigata Shitodome, it's like a square shape. I like that. It's different from all the other Kurigata because they are like all with round shape, and this one has an elegant design with the square shape. The koiguchi is tight and sturdy. I really like that. Like YariNoHanzo koiguchi are really different from the other one. They stay tight really long time because they let it go to the seller. The seller let it go shipped to the buyer, always with important tightness, and it keep longer without manufacturing your koiguchi, repairing. Saya, for me it's inden on my research, but maybe I'm wrong. For me Sajo is synthetical. I think it's polyester, but it's really tough. It's really thick, like I like, so I don't care if it's not for this price. Japanese silk. For me, all 90% sure that it's synthetical. Shinonome, as always, YariNoHanzo Shinonome are one of my favorite. They looks mixed between cotton and synthetical. On the red, I think it's cotton or something like that, and synthetical inside, but they are one of my favorite. It's fancy, it's sober, it's elegant, and it's not because it doesn't cost so much on material for them that there is not this design that is beautiful and enjoyable for put it back you sword in on your sword closet. So Togakure Shinobigatana YariNoHanzo, 57 centimeters, 1020 grams, 1095 carbon steel, Okisaki, Sayata Pinden, Yorimune, Inerimaki with Ishigami, important to note, and Tsukai shape Aishi. For me, I'm on Midare. Now, paper test. That was a long time ago. It was the first paper test. So now we'll try with this cardboard if this thick blade can go through. We have seen that on the review before with the Ninjato Muazame, that it's difficult for Noe blade to go through light materials. Here it didn't work the first time. It didn't work the second time. It's not the same cardboard than last time because this one is lighter. But this one is thicker and it didn't goes through. So we can see two things. The test we have done before with the Ninjato and the boy from Dragon King and Okaze, we are really close than Okaze. I had just one cut, all the other one were not totally going through, and because it's a Noi blade, it's difficult to have the enough faster to get through light materials. So all the time it's too difficult, it's not totally getting through. The second thing is because it's a shoulder blade, it's faster to draw, so faster to attack, so it's faster. If we think feudal kenjutsu, but there is less power because less distance, because shoulder blade. So this is really important to understand that if I had a blade that is longer, I would have more power, so it will be easier to cut something like a bottle, empty bottle with no inertia. So it's not totally cutting, it's cutting like 25% or like 20% of the bottle. Of course the same with one hand because I would have less power. So it was not really relevant for light materials. But for paper, nothing else to declare that it's totally working. So it's a very good age. And one of the great thing of this sword, and I think this is why maybe they were using it, if Shinobigatana as exists, I think it's plausible because it's between a wakizashi and a katana, and is lightweight and is faster, so it cut faster, and you can draw it faster than a katana, so it can be a really good advantage for a spy, as Shinobi maybe had be as spy craft agent that were samurai, if you remember my first research on the review of the ninjato. And what is impressive is that sword is really fast to draw, and you can practice indoor easily than with a katana, because when you want to make major cuts like kesagiri or gyakukesa, you have more space, because most of the time it's difficult if you have a floor up than you to not touch something and destroy your blade. So with this sword, for the person who live in cities and want to practice batto-do in their apartment, for example, it is a really good choice, because for a batto practitioner that wants to practice in city and has not a special great space for practicing, for example, this sword make the difference with this almost 15 centimeters less than with a regular katana or shinken. I prefer to tell the word shinken than katana. Shinken means living blade. So now these are the inside practice with Nuki Uchi, so batto-do techniques and tameshigiri techniques. It is really faster. I would have like half of a second to respond to an attack in, if we imagine kenjutsu situation or feudal situation with this sword. It is really easy. It's shorter distance, so it's really interesting. For the swing, it's not so important, because the swing, it's a Noi blade, so the swing is really light, or you have to put really important power if you want to hear the swing correctly. Here you can hear it most of the time. So for me, on my inside door practice, the only default of the sword is the balance. As always with YariNoHanzo, I don't appreciate at all their balance, and I have to say just right now that I really like this sword. I think this sword will be on my top 3, and you will understand later why. But one thing that is really important, and this is for me the major and almost only default, is the weight distribution. For me, it's really rigid. It's like an inverse hammer. So inverse hammer, imagine an inverse hammer in your hand. It's really difficult to use the blade part because all the weight is in my left hand and of course my right hand, but especially in my left hand, and it's just the weight distribution make the swing, the transfer of my mass not easily going after the tsuba more than 20 centimeters. So to getting to the tip with all my mass during the cut is really difficult. It's their choice of making it, but for me the result is my stamina is 30 to 35 percentage of less stamina because of a rigid balance that is like stocking in my wrists and in my joints, and I think this is the only and worst thing of this Shinken. But because it's a shorter one than the Araki or the Musashi Pract that I already made review with, it's for me more enjoyable because there is less important feeling of this, for me, sorry, but bad balance. Even with good posture, it's not about posture, it's about balance. If you compare with a Tozando, Ivi Yaito, same weight, or Boi Tozando Yaito, the difference is extraordinary. So for that point, for me, it's really important, and the bad aspect of this product, or I would say this Shinken, because I consider Shinken as Shinken and not a product, but this is an industry of swords made in China, so I will say product for that aspect. But I would always respect and consider a piece of art as real katana from made in Japan and katana that are not made in Japan as the symbol of this masterpiece of art of Japanese culture, even it is not made for this one in Japan. So you have different kind of technique that I practice here. On this time I practice a lot reverse drawing as Zatwachi. When I will be ready, I will not on this review, sorry guys, I will practice cuts with reverse handling. It is really technical, really difficult, and it's really different for your brain and for your habits of your postures and weight transfer. So I continue to practice it. I'm really on it since a long time now, but it won't be for this review, for next time, for the good sword with matching between the technique balance and when I will be ready and safe. So really fast sword, really agile sword by the size, by the wide, because it's a really wide important blade. Most of the time we say there is a dotanuki blade when there is a wide blade like this of 3.5 centimeters to 2.7 or 2.6 centimeters. So it's a dotanuki blade by the width of the blade, the moto haba and the saki haba, but there is no niku because it's inariku kareru, so it's not technically we can't say, I think from my knowledge, that is a dotanuki blade. Now the serious thing with the suemonogiri. You understand later why I'll start by this conception. Suemonogiri is the evaluation of the practitioner. So first I have to say that this review has been made cutting practice 2 days after Ikazuchi. So it's really important to note it was a 36 hours of soaking. Ikazuchi was between 18 and 20 hours of soaking. So I consider that a point for me in my personal practice is an advanced cut goal and I have to define it before the session. I have to work on it. Most of the time it's 8 to 10 hours of practice. On this time it's a bit less, since 3-4 months, but 1 point, 1 goal of advanced cut. So for Gyaku Inazumagiri it's 1 point. This is a Shenlong omote. I'm not crazy at all about this kind of omote, because there is plastic fiber on it and not just natural plants fiber. But it was interesting to compare for both of Ninjato and this Shinobigatana, because we will make, of course, the verses between these two totally different swords, the verses. So it is the same Shenlong, and you can compare, especially on Nukiuchi. Here the goal was to make just Nukiuchi of Kesa, Suihei, and Gyaku Kesa on one Shenlong omote. I didn't have on my goal especially a precise number of Nukiuchi. I was knowing that it would be like 5 or 6 or 7, but for having the point in my goal, it was no one mistake allowed. So 7 Nukiuchi, 1 point again with Shenlong. It's important to note that after the great deception of the Ikazuchi, and I didn't felt good on the session because of the training, the preparation, and the cost of omote. All of this is really important when I make a review. It's kind of an accomplishment of weeks and weeks and weeks of training. So, and of course research about the sword that I'm reviewing, but I can't go like this and just do something that is not prepared. This is not the point. It's taking too much energy, time, and some money also, of course, for Momote. So for this sword, everything was starting naturally with good results, but practical result, not something that was unpractical and unuseful. So I was feeling leaving my practice again, and that is important to note that. Even you will have, of course, the verses. Ikazuchi versus Shinobigatana. Inazumigiri on Mugendachi. Mugendachi are really dense, heavy omote. Close from the omote of competition in batto-do in Japan. And they are really serious one. Like fragile blade can't go through, so it's a good test. So this blade is not fragile at all. Gyaku Inazumigiri 1 point on Mugendachi again. Mugendachi Mizugaishi 1 point. So even this sword is rigid, it's really not fragile. It's really effective, it's really practical, it's really fast. It's a shorter sword, but if you have power on your skills, on your weight transfer of your mass, you can have a really good result. Even I don't appreciate this low weight distribution that I call C1. That means the weight distribution is really close from the tsuba, stuck in the tsuka. Kawasemi 1 point. It was a really clean Kawasemi. I was really surprised. I was having a little bit loose. I was surprised of this weak omote because Johnny omote are weaker. So on my first shot I missed, and the second shot I was successful on Ushiro Mizugaishi. So it was really I was really surprised because it's easier to practice with this type of omote, and I was having better results with Mugendachi. All the other sword most of the time is the opposite. So this sword is really tough. Has no problem with Mugendachi that are really tough, dense, and heavy omote. that most of the time block bowie blades with not correct edge alignment. Third, and boom, third shot on the same omote on Ushiro Mizugaeshi, 1 point again. It was really surprising. Because with a weight distribution that I don't appreciate, with a balance in C1 in the Tsuka, it's really difficult for me on one head batto-do cut, especially with double cut, and even with that, on 3 shots, everything was working. So that was my second phase of practicing with this really difficult one. So I finished with simple cuts on Daruma Otoshi. It's almost a Daruma Otoshi. The purpose was Sode Surigaishi, so 0 point because all the other tries were not the purpose, the goal that I fixed. Difficult with Niten, but it's natural because at this second phase my body was tired because this is exhausting. Batto-do is really it's really physical, but because the weight distribution of this sword make me tired faster. But most of the time I always have a second phase that is more difficult. My goal of these 4 cuts with 2 Nukiuchi on Niten and then 2 cuts again was difficult. My muscles tension were like exhausted, tired, I think, and I lost my focusness. So on the second phase I'll always have to focus a lot. So I counted for Niten Nukiuchi 2 times and Niten Dobarai 0.5, half of a point, because it was too much tries, 9 tries for just 4 cuts realized at least that were like previewing on the goal. So second phase, rigid blade and my natural lose of focusness. Here it's cut on my Mizugaeshi, but it's not perfectly cut, but it's cut with 1 point. So my energy now is low and my focusness too, so I have to focus a lot. There I had a really correct one. Even it was a second try, it was really, really clean. So it's on Gozamat, Niten Mizugaeshi. So now I have to really keep my mind super focused. Super focused, because my low energy of my physical is making me like mistakes. I had this really great inspiration moment where I finish the half point of the previous goal. So I counted because this one was really clean and it made the point for the previous goal. I'm getting to the third phase. The third phase for me most of the time during like these 2.5 last years is when I control my energy that is low to bring a super focusedness. But this was a mistake again because my physical is low. So I have to super focus to not make touch the 2 blades and have this point. It will be the last cut. At this moment, I finished my 13 omote. I just missed with 1 omote. That was not correct. I feel really satisfied. Even if I had a better focusedness, I could avoid to miss 1 omote. So it's 14 points on 13 omote. if we count it easy, all points included, it's 21.5 on 20. Medium, only 1.1 try and double points included per omote, it's 16.9. And hard, only 1.1 try per omote, is 13.8 on 20. So that could be the 3 ways to analyze my results. Now, because of 21.5 on 20, I have to evolve to the medium difficulty class of mindset about my results. And these are all the omote that I caught with the goals. And you have the Idai Kamai or the Migi Kamai, and different tries, different points, and type of Gozamat or Mugendachi Omote. So this is the result of my Suemonogiri. I'm really glad of the result of this blade. Even the only bad points about the weight distribution, this blade is really impressive on many things. So the Tsuka maneuverability shape is 8, size 8, grip 8, sturdiness material is really impressive 9, safety 8, design 9, quality material 7, weight 8, healthy for waist joints I put 8, maneuverability for tameshigiri simple cuts 8, good value for money 8, blade weight transfer Nagasa 9, steel 9, sharpness 8, weight 8, geometry 8, weight distribution balance 7, sturdiness 8, swing 7, almond 6, curve 8, good value for money 8. This blade is impressive, and if we compare with the other one, is really night and day. If we compare with the other one, the Ninjato. The Saya, safety Koguchi, Kurigata, Kojiri, so 8, grip 8, sturdiness materials 8, designing 8, quality material 8, weight 8, good value for money 8. So this sword is definitely an 8, and really impressive by simplicity, sober, and for me, because I love black color, you know it. I like black color, and it's really beautiful, and it's sturdy. And even I don't appreciate C1 weight distribution. You can do everything you want. So for practitioner, for 500 euros, this blade, and you can do many things like you have seen on the previous episodes with the Ghost of Toshima topic. You can do so many things and practice in apartment, even you have not important space. So for all of that, for me, this sword is a really correct product, a really good product. So I'm really glad to have experienced this review with this sword. Conclusion. Thank you, dear Ronins, for having watched this episode. I hope you liked it. It was a little bit long episode, longer than I usually do, but it was important to take time to make everything clear and to understand all the factors and all the historical situation about what is Togakure and ninjutsu, and of course the pleasure of making all this correct cut with this correct sword with really correct price. I hope you liked this video. I wish you to stay focused, mind peaceful, and body healthy, and see you soon for the next episode in Ronin Hood.